Hi everyone, very good evening and thank you for joining the webinar. This is Aditi and I'm an account manager with WS Group. So today we would be talking about how virtual events are not really, just helping you to get the events in line, but also helping you overall to come on board in terms of not miss out on what's happening, not really canceling the in-person events, but also allowing you to just continue what you've been doing so long. So it's not that we have to necessarily be out of business, necessarily go out of the event space, because virtual events do help you to almost replicate what you're doing with the in-person events. So the entire objective of today's webinar would be to discuss how these events are not just virtual events, but they are just more than video conferencing. They are not limited to having a webinar, or they're not limited to just seeing each other on the video, but they're definitely more than just video conferencing. So, to get started, I would first like to, take a moment here and then, be with you all in this stressful pandemic situation, because we understand, like in our previous webinars also, we've spoken about how the situation is across the globe. And we are really, as an event community, we do stand together with all of you and hope that we would get over this pretty soon and we would be back to the in-person meetings. But then again, we are very sure that even though when we get back to the in-person meetings, when all this gets over, virtual meetings and virtual events would still have a lot of importance in the coming times. Now that brings me to the next point, that organizers are already taking the first steps, to get into this new territory of virtual events. So they are basically looking for ways where you can quickly adapt and host trade shows and events. So if you're really looking for something coming up in the recent months, or if any of your events have got cancelled, this webinar is definitely important to you, because you would understand how we, being in the event space for so long, we are catering to most of our clients who really are in a bad shape because they have planned events and they are unable to take in-person events right now. So they are unable to plan more of their logistics. So we are bringing them on board on our virtual platform, helping them to come on board in terms of their speaker coordination, their sponsors, and then all of the agendas. Everything is now virtual. So this webinar would talk more of that in details. And to do that, I would now introduce you to my guest today. So I have Dipesh and Siddharth joining in. Siddharth, popularly known as Sid, is the CEO of WS Group, also the chief innovator of E2M Live, while Dipesh is the product head who leads the engineering labs at E2M. So Sid and Dipesh, welcome you both to the webinar. How are you doing?
Thank you, Aditi. We are doing great. So, as you rightly said, that in the current situation, the in-person events are getting cancelled or postponed. So, definitely the push for virtual events is something which we are seeing of late. So, trade shows, expos, sports events that can be postponed or cancelled, that we can understand. But employee engagement.
So I think it's also a great alternative to in-person events. I mean, from what we know, that we've had that preconceived notion that maybe virtual events wouldn't be able to give you all that you do in in-person events. But then that's not true, because I'm pretty sure you would be able to elucidate on this better. We do have platforms which cater to a lot of in-person needs. For example, if you would like to have a meeting set up, if you'd like to connect to speakers, if you'd like to have a roundtable, all that's really possible on virtual events, right, Dipesh?
Absolutely. So we have platforms like Zoom or a WebEx, which is good enough for single sessions, but the nature of the events are such that it varies from a half-day event to anywhere between 2 to 3 days. So for those kind of events, that's where E2M OnAir comes into the picture. So with E2M OnAir, what we are trying to do is it's a virtual events platform to host interactive events which feel as real as the in-person events. So it is designed for large events. It can scale up to millions of users. It is trusted and used by the Fortune 500 and global event agencies. Most of all, it is simple to use. There is absolutely nothing to download. You can simply use your browser or the native iOS and Android apps.
So you mean that there would not be too many logistical challenges that event organizers face when they go virtual, right?
Absolutely, yes. It's very simple, it is seamless, and for the users as well, it's a seamless experience. It's just like having a in-person event, but just doing it from home, especially with this current situation we are in. So it's going to be a long haul. We all know that. So in this situation, it really fits into the whole scheme of things.
Right. And I think the main 2 points of events, which are travel and logistical cost, I think those are the two main points that the virtual platform would be able to address in the long run.
Absolutely, yes, you're right.
So my question to Siddharth right now is, Sid, you've been in the event space for a very long time, so you're almost like a legend in terms of events. Could you maybe tell me how do you think the industry is coping up to this paradigm shift?
Aditi, I think right now most people don't have a choice. So they're either stopping or they're thinking about alternatives. And as you can see on the screen, our theme is can't stop, won't stop. Uh, so the entire idea is how do you hold that same event online, but it feels like an event. I think that the biggest challenge is, and what we've done, we've already, since the lockdown or the circuit breaker, we've already had two major events which have gone live using the platform. And I think for the attendees here, I think they've had a significant introduction now. Maybe we can just move on to showing them some of the ways we can enable virtual events or online events. So if you just scroll down for me, please. So to the audience here, the way it does is that you're probably familiar with the round table concept, right? Where during lunch hours or during outside uh, breakout rooms, you have a group of people, like 4 or 6 people, who are there in a small group to exchange ideas. So we have the same concept of roundtable here, which can be scheduled for a person by the event manager, or a person can request for to join a specific roundtable. And in a moment, uh, Dipesh will bring up some screens to show you how it's done. Similarly, the most popular aspect is the session broadcast. So again, you can have as many as 15 speakers, like sitting in a panel, and then almost an unlimited number of attendees subject to the license terms. Sorry, I'm getting a background noise. Is it possible, Aditi, to just check and mute? I don't know whether it's Soumya or somebody. Can you just mute your side, please, Soumya, Dipesh? Somebody's breathing into it, so sorry about that. Yeah. So guys, that's the broadcast actually ensures that you have the same experience of a keynote or multiple tracks that happen at the same time, and you can still have engagement, which is actually earlier not very easy. Like for example, a real time Q&A. There's a real time chat, real time polls around it. So it really adds to that entire engagement quotient. And then for exhibitor heavy, again, we give you a 3D view so that, right, as exhibitors, you can go and actually discover uh, exhibits. Again, Dipesh will come and show you each of these points just after this. And then finally, we record all those as well. So all these sessions are recorded, which you can replay later, license later, or simply download it with your event subscription. And finally, the way you would meet new people in an event over coffee, you just meet and strike a conversation. The last part of Let's Talk actually allows you to do the one-to-one video conference as well. So it takes care of all sort of combinations, right? One-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, a small group, a keynote with hundreds of thousands of users, and that's what it brings to the picture. And at the same time, if as we scroll down, Aditi, we'll see that um, you know it's not just video sessions. So the way we expect is that uh, whether it's a sales enabled meeting, or whether it's a customer meeting, or whether it's a commercial conference, you would expect them to uh, continue to use this event across the day. So they may be attending a session, and then they would be part of a social wall where they are updating their feedback, their stories, their thoughts, and other people are commenting on. So even if they are taking a, for example, lunch break or a session break, they will still see the activity of the event going on. So it's a session that continues across the day, and that's the whole idea, that it's not just one video conference. It's an entire engagement piece. As when we go down, we'll see. So if we can go down, so like the meeting module, for example, getting people to discover other people. So you have like these genius bars where you can have people having these closed groups of specific topics. Like for example, let's say in a sales conference or a sales enablement conference, you could have let's say a PPC booth, or a digital marketing section, or a direct marketing section, and then people can actually go and join these groups and book a meeting. So it is, yeah. Similarly, the event managers at the start can also pre-assign groups of people that they're supposed to meet, or they're supposed to go here and do these tracks. So that's this is what keeps them alive. And again, this is available both on the web and the app. Yeah. If you go down, Aditi, thanks. And then things like live Q&A. So here what we do is, with the video, the actual Q&A is embedded within the video. So the liking and upvoting happens in real time. So the other attendees can upvote, they can see a poll happening and respond back right away. So, and along with this, as we go down, you will see that, the gamification angles. I'm just giving you sort of a bird's eye view into what are the sort of core elements of an online event. And then I'll hand it back to Aditi and Dipesh to actually give you a real sort of quick demo. So again, as a personalized agenda, what happens is that the moment the person logs in to his panel or to his mobile app, he actually sees his personalized agenda. Now that could be different based on the person's role, the person's profile, the person's team, etc. So he knows exactly what's going on when, and uh, that ensures that his day is mapped out. His day is individually mapped out. Yeah. And finally, the next part, Aditi, if you could scroll down, please. Yeah. And this is the most interesting part, because what we do is, across the day, there's actually, we allow the attendees to actually gamify the whole thing, right? The event managers to gamify. So the actions of attendees earn them points, and they earn points throughout the day and throughout the event. And this is surprisingly a very competitive, because people see other people gaining points and they want to, beat them. And often event managers would assign some form of a, reward, right from an Amazon voucher to an iPad. And we see that this is also very important and brings people back. So we know that sitting on your desktop for an entire day is not easy, but the gamification actually ensures that they get back into the event, and they're engaged throughout the day or the days that the event lasts. So I hope, Aditi, this is helpful, from a perspective of the overall, uh, scope of the offering. And I think we can now jump to giving some demos of what it looks like, if not a detailed one.
So let me jump in and share my screen. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah, we can see.
So like Sid was mentioning, that it's a virtual platform. So what you see on the screen is an event which is happening early next week in California. So it's a responsive web version, what you're seeing on my screen right now. I'm going to shortly show you the mobile app as well. So this is the virtual lobby we were talking about. So we have hotspots connected to the social wall, to the list of attendees, to the agendas, to the sponsor pages. So if I have to access the session, if I have to see the agenda, then all I have to do is I click here on the hotspot, and I'll be seeing the list of all the sessions listed day-wise. Now, It also supports multiple tracks, like Sid was mentioning, so that at the same time you can have multiple sessions broadcasted. So all the sessions has their own unique video streams. So like you're seeing here that we have the option to directly launch the session right from the session list. So if there is an active session which is going on right now, in this demo, there is no live session going on, but if that happens, then you'll see a animation here, which will signify that this session is live currently. And all the attendee has to do is just jump in and they can see the broadcast right away. So apart from that, from the speaker point of view, there are multiple options. So the speaker can turn on or off the recording. We also have a Q&A feature and a group chat feature, which the speaker and the host for that session can enable or disable at any point of time. And it gets seamlessly reflected on the audience screen. So it supports, like Sid was mentioning, up to 15 speakers at the same time. And all the sessions can be recorded for future playback. In the live broadcast, what you'll also see as a speaker is the live counter. So you can see how many people are actively viewing that session. So apart from that, a lot of our planners, what they do is, what we've seen them using is using the push alert to great advantage. So this helps in drawing instant attention, especially with this work from home scenario, which we all are facing. People might be busy making a coffee or looking after their family. So what happens is that you, as an event planner, you can pre-schedule the push alert right before the session starts. And from the lock screen, you can directly launch as an attendee the live stream. So it's that simple. So what we are seeing here is a seamless experience to discover sessions of interest and where attendees can move in and out of them. And there is also an option to add to the calendar as well, so that it gives you a notification before it starts. There is no Zoom link to look for. It's very simple and handy. So apart from that, let me also show you how the roundtable looks like. But before I do so, this was for a philanthropy event. It's kind of a summit. Let me also show you how one of the investment banks in US, they are using the virtual lobby. So this is a Fortune 500, which is using a virtual lobby for listing their speakers, agenda, attendees, roundtables, and resources. So this screen, the virtual lobby, is something which can be really customized, and we work closely with the event planners to design it and brand it as per the requirement of the event. So this is something which is customizable. All these hotspots that you see on my screen can be customized, can be linked to specific features of each event. So let me jump into the roundtables. So roundtable is a great way to network and discover other attendees, like Sid was talking about. The tables can be both private or public. If it's a public table, others can spectate without joining the conversation. Attendees can create their own tables, like you see here. So you can create your own table, and if you choose, you can make it a public table as well, enable spectate option. So what we have seen since January is that the virtual happy hour is a popular use case. Not very core to us, but it's a very popular use case where attendees can discover and meet new people in the event while having a drink in the evening for a fun time or to share a laugh. So other features are also there. Let me show my mobile screen. So this is the mobile version of the same event which I've just shown, the responsive version. So this is how it looks like on the mobile screen. So I can launch the session from the mobile app as well. like you see here. So there are other options like social wall. We have resources and various other options which our customers are using. There is group messaging, one-to-one messaging, gamification, like we discussed. So, all in all, it's a powerful and a simple, easy-to-use platform. So, it not just allows attendee to discover content and meet new people. It is context-driven, seamless, and lets attendees enjoy an event in a virtual world, just like an in-person event.
So Dipesh, I have a question for you on that same note. Thanks for sharing your bits on it. We do know that the market has a lot of web conferencing tools already. So these are established products that they've been in the market, which are predominantly used for webinars and workshops, right? So where do you think that OnAir, I mean, how stiff would be the competition for OnAir to, compete in that market, with the likes of, let's say, Zoom or WebEx?
So I think it's a very valid question, Aditi. Typically, a Zoom or a WebEx is good enough for single sessions, for short duration meetings. But E2M On Air is something which is built for large audiences. So typically, the nature of the events are such that it varies anywhere between half day, typically till 2 to 3 days. So there is an element of discovery, wandering around, meeting new people, discovering new content, all of that. Plus, the scale is also a big factor here, which typically a Zoom or a WebEx cannot deliver. So all this within the context of an event is something which makes ETM On Air unique than the others.
Right, right. So also, there's another follow-up question to that, for that matter. And then you say that the virtual events, when you have to really go out to your clients and try to propose the virtual events, or maybe when clients come out to you with questions, do you say that there is more live streaming, which is of a requirement, or do you think that it's a mix of on-demand and live streaming both, or maybe more of on-demand?
I think it's a mix of both. It depends on what is the requirement. It supports both actually. If you see, if there are pre-recorded sessions, because most lot of customers what they do is they record sessions in a studio quality environment. It
Right.
can be used for education as well. So if that is the use case, then it supports pre-recorded sessions as well, not just the live streaming.
Right. And could you tell us more about how the localization works? For example, if attendees have to, find these sessions in their own time, literally in their own time, how does the localization then work? Because we are all remote, right? The attendees are all remote. So with the virtual age, with the advent of the virtual platform, I think it should just make the life easier for the organizers to let their audience access details and access these videos in their own local time, right? So how do you
Absolutely.
think localization works?
See, the app that see any event has its own time zone. That's how it works. But if you use it, let's say, okay, an event is happening in California and you're accessing the same event from Singapore. So what we'll see on your screen is something which is in your, it's automatically converted in your time. So if that's the question you're trying to ask.
Right, right. So basically, as an audience, maybe from Singapore or from Indonesia, if I'm accessing this event in California, I would basically be able to see it based on my local time zone, right? So the content is easily available across time zones. That's what you mean,
Yes, yes.
right? So I think Siddharth also had pointed out a very important feature that you have, which is gamification, right? And to be able to do it on the virtual app itself, I think is a great thing. I mean, I'm sure the most of the virtual apps may not have that feature. So if you could maybe highlight that about.
Yeah, we do have gamification feature. In fact, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into our CMS,
Sure.
which is pretty powerful, and it lets event planners save a lot of time and hassle. So this is the gamification modules. These are the different kinds of features that we support. So we have quiz, trivia, we have location-based games where you can unlock a reward or points based on scanning a QR. So we have badges, we have treasure hunt, we have multiple formats of games that we support.
And you think, and you're trying to say that all this is possible on the virtual event, right? Virtual
Yes,
platform.
all that is possible. Yeah. And
Great.
it greatly enhances the user engagement within the
Absolutely. So the users who are primarily not really with each other physically, they would be able to, engage. And I think this is a great thing that you have here.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just that, I'd like to also add here that uploading content is very easy, and we do support bulk uploads. So whether it's a speaker, exhibitor, attendee, all of them can be bulk uploaded. We also have integrations with Cvent, Salesforce. So if you are using any of their platforms, we can also integrate with them.
So I think Dipesh, I think recently you've also partnered with very large events, for example, like Singapore Summit and all. So if you could maybe share some of your experiences when you partner with such big, large-scale events. What is your experience like? What is the type of requirement that you generally get, and how do you go about it? And then maybe after this, we would have the floor open for questions.
So I think one thing which is common in all the events that we have been seeing is the user engagement. So for Singapore Summit, especially because of the kind of attendees in the event, they are very high profile. So user experience was a top priority for Singapore Summit. Seamless login to the app, that was also something which is very important for them, because a lot of people, for the high profile attendees, they really required a simple way to log in. So we have sign-in options with, let's say, Facebook, sign in as a Gmail user, or sign in as a Facebook user, to ease the friction to log into the app. So those were some of the areas which is really important for Singapore Summit. Apart from that, the engagement, the poll, the survey, I think live question and answer was also really important for them, because while the session was going on, a lot of people over the years, in the last 3 years of our association with Singapore Summit, they've extensively used the live polling and Q&A.
Right. And I think that also says that the app, the platform itself is very, very scalable, right?
Yes, yes. In fact, the OnAir platform, it can scale up to 1 million users without any hassle. In January this year, 2020, we had an event, the largest electrical exhibition. It was an expo in India. The name of the expo was Electrama. You're very much familiar with that, Aditi. So we had more than 80,000 people using our platform at the same time, concurrently, and it scaled. So that is something in terms of security, whether it's security, the scalability is something which is unique. That's what we bring to the table compared to any other event app out there.
Right. And I think the registration part is also very important because E2M does help in that front as well. And I think that's one of
Absolutely.
the very important
Absolutely right.
part of
So
any event.
we do support registrations on web. We have a very simple drag and drop interface to create your own custom forms. We do accept payment integrations as well. We have integrations with Stripe. We have integrations with other providers as well. So yes, we can also integrate with, as I said, that if you're using any third party for registration, we can integrate with that as well.
Right. Sounds good. So I
Just
think now,
one final thing, if you guys don't mind, is the the exhibit. Would you be having a view of the 3D just before we sign off? I know we are finishing our 30 minutes, but Is it possible to show an image of the 3D?
Yes, allow me a minute while
Yeah.
probably Aditi, if you can take the screen back and give me a minute. Let me just pull up that.
Sure.
So this is how the virtual exhibitor booths would look like. So here you can see that there are multiple booths. So if I select any one of them, there are multiple interactive features that we allow. So you can view the brochure, you can download them, you can send it to your email address. All those functionalities are there, but it doesn't stop only there. We also have a interactive feature where if any one of the agents are available at that point of time, you can start a conversation and have a one-on-one meeting kind of thing right within the same booth. So Sid, if you'd like to add anything here.
I think this is just a great example of how the exhibit experience can be enhanced. And I think, Aditi, as you're doing multiple private demos to customers, this should, we should also have this to show. So I think essentially, if we combine this along with that, it will be great. So this is a good example of the exhibitor landing, uh, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
This would also give
yeah,
some perspective to the clients and to the leads that we speak to every day. So I think
yeah,
this give them an
yeah,
understanding of how their brand presence and exhibiting is going to be like
yeah, yeah.
virtually. Yeah. So I think that there's a question which is coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually just responding because it seems I
Sure.
cannot mute him. Uh, Runakar, I've responded because I'm trying to unmute you. For some reason, I cannot unmute you. But oh no, you can actually. So yeah, if you want to talk, Runakar, I've unmuted you. You can actually discuss.
Arunakar, you can maybe ask us your question directly.
Okay, but anyways, I've responded back to him. I hope that okay, no problem. I hope you've got the answer, so it's fine. And okay, thanks.
All right, then. Thank you, Siddharth, and thanks, Dipesh. Thanks for joining in today and sharing your
Yeah,
bits on the event space and
yeah,
the virtual app platform. We hope to reconnect again on some of the other webinars soon. Till then, thank you so much, and we will get back to all of you. If you have any questions, please feel free to write to us, and we'll get back to you. Thank you so much. Have a good day ahead.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you and
Bye.
stay safe.